What's good, family? It's Shanique. I'm back with another video. I was just out on my walk and I thought I'd come to you with some questions that I really think you must ask yourself before you decide to embark on this journey. And these are the questions that most people will probably never tell you to think about, but I think they're really, really important. So, first one. What are your non-negotiables? What's the bare minimum? I have to have this. For me, I have to be near water. I love being near water, and not just any water. I'm a bit of a beach snob now, so I need a beautiful beach close by, within 20-minute drive. That's a non-negotiable for me, for living. You have to know what's gonna make you happy. And when we were in Ghana, I love Ghana for many different reasons, but we did not enjoy the beach there. I love Turkey, but the beach was rocky. It didn't have soft, silky sand. These are non-negotiables. These are things that are really, really important to me, and they're going to impact on how happy I am and how comfortable I feel in a place. And yes, it can be things like being close to a beach or being in a major city, but it could be just my apartment needs to have a washing machine, or I must have an outdoor space. You just have to get very, very clear on what's important to you, because otherwise you're going to be miserable, and that's not fun, and you're going to find it harder to stay. You're going to find it harder to transition and enjoy the journey if you're not comfortable. There's got to be a level of discomfort, but also it's helpful when you know yourself. Don't put yourself in situations that you're going to hate, right? So we love to be in areas that are walkable and kind of family friendly. So I have to think about that whenever we go and look for an apartment. I have to think, is there space for the kids to run around? That's one of the reasons why we don't live in the center of town anymore, because there just wasn't much space, and we needed more space for the children to run around. So what are your non-negotiables? Number 2, and it kind of goes alongside the first one, but how comfortable are you with being uncomfortable? Your competence level is about to drop to 0. Imagine you're moving to a new place that if you've only ever visited and you've been a tourist, you really don't know it. So imagine competence level is going to be 0. You can't speak the language. You probably can't even read labels properly. How do you ask for help? Are you okay with being uncomfortable, with not knowing? If you have a fragile ego, 1, this is either not going to work, or 2, you got some big changes ahead of you. What are you going to do if things go wrong? Do you have a backup plan? What happens if A, B, and C does not work? What's next? Can you go back home? Do you have, we got family back at home? Worst case scenario, I could crash out on my mum's living room sofa. I know that. What's the backup plan? Are you okay with starting all over again if you have to? Do you have savings? Do you have alternative sources of income? I always say one income is way too close to none. You cannot rely on one source of income. Make sure you have alternative means. Look, in this big 2025, anything is possible. People are being made redundant left, right, and center. As soon as we moved back to Mexico, within 4 months, I've lost over £1,000 a month in teaching income. I had no idea that was going to happen, but it did. Thankfully, we had other sources of income that I could depend on, and I was able to find another opportunity quite quickly. But you need to make sure that you're not just relying on one thing to get you through, because if it all goes wrong, what are you going to do? If you end up in a hospital, do you have $5,000 to put down as a deposit? That's what we had to do. Do you have spare credit cards? I know people are like, I cut up my credit card, I don't want to have a credit card, but actually it's not a bad thing to have as an emergency. It's a just in case you have to get out and get gone, you know? So really think about what that backup plan might look like. How will you create a support system from zero? You probably won't know anyone. You're not going to have your friends, you're not going to have your family, or they're going to be a whole phone call or aeroplane ride away. You have to be very, very intentional about finding your people. And I'm not just talking about the person that you say hey to. I'm talking about when it's an emergency, who can you call? Who can you rely on? Who can you ask to look after your kids if you need to go to the hospital? You need a support system. I don't care how strong you think you are. I don't care if you're a couple and you're a whole family. Just because there's two of you, you need an external support system that you can rely on and people that you can go to at a moment's notice. How do you create that? You need to join groups. You need to find your people online. You need to be very intentional. Yes, even those of us that are introverts and hate the idea of networking and go to the meetups. I like to search black in insert city, black in Playa del Carmen, black in Mexico, black in the Riviera Maya. This is how, if that's important to you. Digital nomads in insert country. This is how you're going to find your people. Go to the meetups. Just say hey to people, just speak to people. The people that generally will talk to you back are most likely living there and they're looking for a support system too. These are going to be your go-to people and your loved ones aren't around. So you have to be very intentional about creating your new support system. And finally, how are you defining success? And I'm not talking about, oh, I have the ability to buy a house, I have these cars, I have this much money in the bank. I think, when you're thinking about this kind of lifestyle, this kind of alternative lifestyle, the typical success markers aren't as important, right? If you're my people, that is, having the car, having the house isn't really as important. How do you feel? How are you going to decide, yeah, this is me and I'm not going back, or this is the life that I know I definitely want to live, and wow, I made it a year. Can I go a year living this life? Yes, I can. Okay, I know I can sustain it. Am I more comfortable? Am I happier? Has my skin, my health improved? Do I have more friends, more people around me that I trust? What's important to you? How are you going to determine, yes, this was the right decision to make? I'm calmer, I'm happier out here. I was miserable living in the UK. I need to be by warm weather. So I know that, if my mood has improved, that's a good sign that I'm on the right path. So what are the success markers that you want to achieve and that will help you know, yes, this was the right decision for me to make? Only you can define that, and it's not going to be in the material things. It won't. I hope that helps, family. Just wanted to give you some things to think about outside of the regular. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you've considered any of these things, and I'll be back soon with another one. Take care. Bye.